Hello, thank you for tuning in to this week's reads. This week I'm going to use for the tarot part the Astromatrix Tarot and astromatrix.org. On the back here is where you check it out if you're interested. Supportive Oracle cards, Magical Spell cards by Lucy Cavendish, illustrated by Jesse Reish, and it's a Hay House product. So at the bottom there you can see the hayhouse.com if you're interested. Did I show the front of it? I hope I did. And for the dice, as always, I'm using the Dice Shop. Math Art Fun is where I got them. Hopefully you can read that if you want to. I use a 22-sided dice for the Major Arcana, substituting 22 for 0 for the Fool. 14-sided dice for the Minor Arcana, with a 4-sided dice choosing the element. Okay, that being said, if you'd like a reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. That being said, let's get into your reading. Hello, Aquarius. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Aquarius? This is going to be an interesting one because I feel like they're kind of saying, be careful not to choose what you actually want. Choose what actually works for you. That's going to be weird. That's going to be weird. Okay. Don't choose what you want. Choose what works for you. That seems so strange, doesn't it? Something is trying to line up. And I feel like something makes too much sense. So in the past, well, yeah, I mean, it is the past, but you've been gaining a lot of information. I feel like for many Aquarians, it's kind of second nature. You pay attention, you catch on to things that maybe, I feel like, and you can tell me in the comments clearly if I'm wrong, you pay attention to things stick in your brain, and maybe at the time you don't really have plans for the information, but it just sticks there. And then later it seems to add into something else, kind of like, oh yeah, I remember that, or oh yeah, I saw that before. Information that you just pick up on these little nuances, and you're just like, I don't know what I'm going to do with that, but that's interesting. And then later you're like, oh yeah, I remember seeing that. That's interesting. So you've been collecting information, not purposefully, but not haphazardly either, if that makes sense. Certain people might grab your attention. Certain subjects might grab your attention. I do have some Aquarius placements in my chart. And I'm wondering if this is, because I do this, where just certain subjects or certain people or when certain things are said, they get stuck in my brain and they just never leave. And for me anyway, my sun sign is Pisces, but I do have some Aquarius in my chart. It's just interesting, kind of like, I don't know. I didn't know why at the time that was sticking in my brain, but I didn't question it. And then later it makes sense. Later I use it. I don't know. Is that something that Aquarius experiences? I don't know. Because I get that, like, you've been collecting information and it's just been kind of gathering there. And I feel like as time keeps going forward, I'm starting to apply it places, and things are not that difficult for you. Because it's kind of like things you've heard over time, you know what to do with this, you know where to go with that, you know how this should go. Or at the very least, you have a direction, a good sense of direction on where you need to be. And it's kind of like slow and steady wins the race, but it's not like you've been going slow, it's just kind of like you've been going per your interest, if that makes sense. It's almost like if you have a house and you're fixing it up slowly but surely, it's kind of like, I'm not going slow and surely because that's the way I want to do it. It's just I'm going per my interests. It's like, oh yeah, somebody was telling me about this is what they did to redo their roof. And it's kind of like over time I've heard that, oh, maybe this type of roof is better for the type of house I have. So I had somebody I paid somebody for this type of roof and I wanted it this way. And then later on, you're like, oh, yeah, I heard that, this type of outlet would be better for this type of thing that I do. And I've been wanting to have this other stuff done, so I've been paying for the house to be rewired. And now that I know the information, I'm going to have this done over there. It's just, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with it at the time, so I didn't do it. And now that I have this information that I didn't know I needed, I'm going to apply this here. And it's just, you've been going slowly but surely, and just been adding in the information when it suits you. And it's been working out for you. It's kind of like, it's not stressful. And to you, it might not even feel like it's going slow. Technically, it's going slow, but to you, it might feel like it's going quickly because you're just using it when it suits you, which is a great thing. I don't think that's bad at all, especially if that's the way you want it to go. I feel like it's fine. Like, I don't feel like I'm pressured, or at the very least, you're not allowing somebody else to pressure you. I feel like one of the reasons you might be kind of going this way too and just kind of waiting till it really is of interest to you is because you've probably realized when you're doing it this way, you avoid a lot of conflicts. You avoid a lot of problems that you didn't really need to have. It's kind of like, well, I'm moving slowly, not because I want to, but because it seems to be serving me. And it seems to be keeping me out of certain issues that I didn't want anyway. Slow and steady wins the race, but there's constant effort here. Again, it's not because I'm choosing to in the sense of like I don't have a choice. It's kind of like it's just working for me and I'm just going towards what interests me in the moment. Seems to be working. And are you content with this? Because it seems to me like you're content with it. You probably have a lot of things going on is why. I'm not giving up on this situation, and I also feel like I do have a lot of things going on. It's all I can afford to give to this situation. Maybe it's all I want to give to this situation right now. I'm not upset about it. I feel like it's not bad. There's something coming in here. Coming around the bend here. That I don't feel like makes sense at first. Justice, half in, half out. Six of Wands coming in. The Six of Wands. Okay, that makes sense. Opportunities coming in with this same subject. So I was using the house as an analogy. I feel like somebody's saying, hey, we can repave your driveway. We got all the materials. You can get this at a discount. We just want to make sure we use up these materials before they end up being a loss for us. We'll give you this great deal on this driveway. It works out perfect. If you want this type of driveway, we just don't want to have this be a complete loss. So we'll give you this great deal just so we make sure we at least break even. Something like that. And I feel like your first reaction is like, I don't know. Sounds good, but I don't know. Does this make sense for what I want? Even though this is a great deal, does this type of driveway work for me? Is that what I wanted? Did I want a plain driveway? Did I want a heated driveway for certain reasons? Did I want a certain slick coat on it? I don't know if that makes sense or not. I'm not a paver. But like, does this make sense for what I want? And at first I feel like, I don't know if I really want this. And whatever this next thing is, it seems like my first reaction is like, I don't know if I want it. But then I kind of slip into this, I guess it's not bad. I mean, I suppose I could change it later if I decide I don't like it. Maybe I should just take the offer and go with it. I don't know if that's really going to work for you. It's ironic because Aquarius usually thinks these things out. I feel like the way I'm looking at it when I'm seeing this Ace of Cups, not the Ace of Cups, it's the Knight of Cups. This offer comes to me, it's a great offer, and it's like, oh, I don't want to like miss out on this offer, but if I really step back, it's kind of like, maybe you want a heated driveway. You live in a place or a location where, it snows, and you're like, I really wanted a heated driveway so I didn't have to deal with the shoveling. Most times. I don't know how that actually works. And this is not a heated driveway. It's at a great discount, but it's not ultimately what I really want. The thing is, do I want to save the money? Is that worth more for me? Or is it worth having that type of driveway I actually want to have? The advice here is to acknowledge that it's a good deal, but it's also kind of like, if it's not really what you want, even though it's a good deal, And that's the analogy. Whatever the situation is, it's kind of like, I guess it's okay. I'm getting like, this isn't going to serve you. It may seem like it's a no-brainer, but it's kind of like, you don't have to settle for the deal that's coming your way. It may seem like that's a good idea. It may seem like maybe I should just do that because it's a good deal. But if that's not what you really want, they're saying kind of center on that at this point. Just because it's a great deal doesn't mean you should settle for it. Because maybe it is a version of settling. The other analogy that I'm getting right here, I feel like this is a harsh one. And you'll know if this hits for you or not, so don't worry about it. It's just an analogy. If you're dating and there's a certain type of person you're looking for, and the person interested in you is really nice, has a lot of benefits, has a lot of good qualities, there's a lot of things you like about them, but it's just not clicking. It's just not. But you're like, maybe I can learn to over time. Maybe it'll be better over time. Maybe, you know, it's worth it. They're saying don't do this. Because you're going to be surprised that over time you're actually not going to like it. That either hits or it doesn't. Don't worry about it. If it hits, you do what you need to do. If it doesn't, doesn't. I've seen people do this in romance a lot. Like, oh, they're good enough. It doesn't quite hit what I want, but it's good enough. And then, 10 years, sometimes 3 or 5 years pass, and they're like, oh boy, what did I say yes to? It's an analogy. Take it with a grain of salt. I keep getting, don't settle for something you really don't want. I mean, just because it's good enough doesn't mean it's worth it. Good enough, whatever this subject is, good enough isn't okay. Because I get whatever the situation is, it does seem to kind of have this restriction. There's a lot of prosperity here. It has a lot to give. But just because there's a lot here, like I'm looking at this, whatever's in this cornucopia, it says prosperity. So if it was a bunch of peanut butter cookies, for example, and like you could have an unlimited supply of peanut butter cookies, but half your family's allergic to peanut butter, how much value does that really have? And I get with the Hierophant coming in with this prosperity, there's a lot of things you can wonderfully have. There's a lot that this could give you, but it's almost like you can have this cornucopia as long as you live up here in the mountains. And maybe you're a person that likes to live near the beach. It may seem like, well, I'll have more than I could want. I'll always be plentiful. I will never need, but I have to live up in the mountains. Some people love the mountains, some people don't. If you're a person that likes it there, that's a great thing. But if you're a person that's kind of like, I want to live near the beach, I want to live out in the fields or something, at first it might be okay, but as the years pass, even though it's bountiful, there's beauty there, there's wonderful things, if it's just not for you, it's going to become a thing that you might grow to hate, just to be fair. You might. Just keep that in mind. You are not trapped with this outcome. You are not trapped with this outcome, whatever this is. Just remember that, whatever it is for you, because I gave the house analogy, I gave the dating analogy. Whatever this is, you are not trapped with this outcome. Being on your own or going your own direction is usually a strong suit of Aquarius, but if this reading is hitting, there's a reason you're considering this. And it's kind of like, I feel like whatever this is, maybe it's hard or difficult to think, maybe, going a different direction might be hard. Choosing a new direction may be difficult because I have to do a lot more work to get what I want. But I'd rather put the work in and get what I actually want than allow something to be here that ultimately I don't. If you go on your own, what I'm getting for this reading, if it's hitting, take it with a grain of salt, it's a general read, but by moving on and going your own direction, you will find what you're truly looking for. You will get the Ace of Cups that you actually want. If you see the Queen of Cups looking into the Ace of Cups, that's how I'm looking at it. Like she's looking into a cup, but to me she's looking into the Ace of Cups. She's looking at what she's getting what she actually wanted, not what somebody handed her, but what she actually went out and got for herself. And this is something you can do for yourself. Don't get caught up in the gender, but this is something they're saying you don't have to settle for this. You can actually have what you actually want. But if you accept a lower offer, I don't know if that's fair to say, but if you accept a lower offer, you can't get the one you really want. It's going to be, well, maybe you could, but it's going to make it quite messy. I'm just saying. So I feel like that's what this is about. Like, be aware of what you're accepting. That's all. If you decide to. All right. I'm going to shut this down here. Hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.